Welcome to the NBA Coast to Coast podcast, brought to you by legalized.com. Coming to you from the West Coast, Josh Lander, joined by my man Nate Weitzer on the East Coast. And we are looking at an 8-game slate here to kick off the work week, Nate. In this one, we are taking a look at Miami headed to Memphis, taking on those Grizzlies. We've also got another game video and our player props video up for you like we do each and every weekday. So make sure to like and subscribe. Continue to follow along with us. Also want you to head to thelines.com. Nate and gang got great written content up there for you guys all season long, including those player props that Nate throws up there each and every weekday. Also have our odds finder tool in there. You can go ahead and make sure that you're getting the best juice back on all these bets you're making on the NBA this season. Nate, let's go ahead and get into this slate here and then talk Heat and Grizz.
Yeah, some key notes here on the Clippers, who are -4 at Charlotte. It opened at -2. I think you can still hit that at what it is because Kawhi and PG are both questionable to return after not playing in a while. Luke Kennard as well. And the Hornets are just tanking at this point. No LaMelo Ball, so I think we trust that one. Bucks -10 at the Magic. The Thunder are +6 at the Hawks. The other game we break down, Celtics +1 at Raptors. C's on a back-to-back there. That's why it's a small spread. The Sixers are -7.5 at the Rockets. Suns +3 at the Mavs in a rivalry game there. And then the Pacers +11 at Warriors. High total of 236. This one also +1 for Miami at Memphis. Total of 224. Memphis flew back from Detroit after winning last night. So they are in the back-to-back situation that we often see here on a Monday. Gonna be a little concerned about how they might play, that they haven't been playing well on back-to-backs this year. Last year, of course, they were great. They're great in every situation. And they're great at home. I mean, but I think this is more to do with Miami. And just like we both say, like, we don't like trying to predict the Heat as a general rule because it's just so hard to – how do you, like, list stats for give a shit? Like, what is their give a shit factor? How many guys are actually going to play? Are they going to play hard? Does Jimmy Butler want this game? I mean – we saw on Friday that he absolutely wanted it. Everybody did, with Jimmy and the boys, as we like to say. Really wanted that statement win in Boston, and they got it in his return. He's still questionable, along with like 5 other guys, because the Heat will always rest people on the road. And you look at their schedule beyond this. I mean, they go to Detroit tomorrow night. They're back home against Detroit tomorrow night. Yeah. They have a cupcake basically every single game through Christmas after this. So it's just, I think if you're betting on Memphis, it's first and foremost saying like the Heat don't really care about this game. It's a non-conference game. It is in no way a statement. And they suck on the road this year because they generally don't care that much. They know they can just go back home, roll all these teams that they big brother like the Pacers and the Hawks and whoever they have on the schedule coming up. But yeah, against the West, they're slightly above 500 since the start of last season. Slightly below the spread in terms of -0.3 covering. So it's, again, inconsistent. But on the road this season, they've been consistently bad. Like I said, like 3-8 straight up, shooting 4 percentage points worse than at home. Turnover rate 2% higher. Offensive rating 6 points worse. Like, pick a stat, they're definitely worse on the road. And Memphis, great at home. They've won like 17 of 19 home games in recent memory, and they've won 4 of their last 5, aside from that rivalry game with Minnie. That, yes, we got wrong there, but that was on the road. Come back home, handle the Sixers. I mean, they're so young, Memphis, so that I don't think you worry that much about the back-to-back situation. Like, Ja played 35 minutes yesterday, but he'll be up for this game. He'll be just fine. I mean, and that Heat backcourt, you either have an ancient Kyle Lowry or you have a Tyler Hero, who maybe is among the worst defenders in the league individually. They rested Steven Adams, so he'll be out there to bang with Bam and help them get that rebounding advantage, which has been so key when they're at home. Rebounds, points in the paint, and now they have Jaren Jackson Jr. limiting shots in the paint. And Miami has just not been consistent from the three-point line on the road, like we said. So I definitely think Memphis, the spread shrinking down to almost a pick 'em. I feel fine taking them here. I mean, maybe you even want to look at an alternate spread because it's either like Miami's going to grind and really try to win this game, or they're just going to say fuck it and just lose by 10 and get ready for their easy schedule coming up.
Yeah, I mean, look, there's not too many games I love picking tonight. I do agree with you. Just as you were kicking off the video, the Hornets are not trying to win. Last night it was a -2 spread for the Clippers, so that could be a little bit of an easier game if you feel it. I still say with all those guys out for the Clips, it's a decent slate tonight in terms of like good matchups. Like it's not like there's these clear wins across the board that you can feel super confident about. There's some pretty evenly matchup teams here, and this one somewhat included. But I think you've got the advantage with Memphis. The only thing working against them is the back-to-back. But like you said, Ja Morant is completely fine at the ripe young age of like 24. He'll be completely fine playing tonight. And like you said, there's not going to be anybody to stay in front of Ja, as if there was anyway. There's extra nobody to stay in front of Ja tonight. So I think in this one, you're looking at Memphis at home, right, and Miami on the road, and you can feel good about both of the contrasting numbers there. I will say Steven Adams being in there is huge as well. He did not play last night so that he could play tonight. In the 6 games that he's played versus Bam, he's allowed Bam to score 8 points, get 5 boards, and 2 assists on 47% shooting. Bam's only played about 22 minutes per game. He's had 2 fouls in the first half of all those games. So yeah, Steven Adams is a problem. And in wins this season, Memphis is getting more rebounds, limiting their opponent's rebounds to the tune of like a difference of like 8 boards a game or so. So yeah, it's important for them, right? For Memphis, that's how they get second chance points. That's how they get Ja out on the break. They're able to get more turnovers because they can sort of crowd their offenders a little bit more because they have Steven Adams, the strongest man to ever play basketball, standing in the paint back there. So I think there's reason to feel good about their defense at home as well. And another reason we hate picking Miami, they're a 3-point shooting team. So there's volatility all over the place all of the time. And they this season, they're actually down a bit in 3-point attempts, mostly because Tyler Hero and Duncan Robinson have both been out for long stretches of time this season, which has definitely impacted the amount of threes they're taking. Yet they're still 8th in field goal attempt percentage of their attempts from 3. Only 24th in 3-point percentage, though, are they this season. So right, like they're not shooting well because they're still playing the same style of offense without their 2 best 3-point shooters in Tyler and Duncan Robinson. So they've been a little bit better since Hero's been back in their last 5 as well. Including that victory against the C's. But they played the Wizards twice, the Celtics twice, and the Hawks once. The Hawks are kind of reeling right now. The Wizards are what they are. So I don't know how much you believe in what Miami's been doing over their last 5. Is they're still not passing the ball well, and they are getting to the free throw line, which is something crucial for them. But Memphis does limits free throw attempts really, really well, including when Steven Adams is out there. Obviously a little bit better as well. So I don't like as much the defense for Memphis at home. I should add 10 percentage points better against the 3-pointer when they're at home. Memphis only allows teams to shoot 30% from 3 at home. That's second best in the league. When they're on the road, they allow teams to shoot 40% from 3. So that's huge. Obviously, once again, in Miami has been is not limiting offensive rebounds. That's what Memphis does. They get second chance points. So it's just a lot of things that as this even goes down to a pick 'em, I continue to like the Grizz even more, especially at home, covering the way that they are. I don't care about the 0-2 on no rest this season. They got smacked in the 3rd game of the season by 41 against Dallas. Throw that one away. I don't really care. And then they only lost to the C's by 3, by the way, the best team in the league, and covered in that game at home on the second leg of that back-to-back earlier this season as well. So I'm not taking too much into account there. They play well against the East. There's just a lot to like for Memphis in a situation that seems like it should be a really close game, but I expect them to win by a solid 4 or 5 points at least.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, they have won 4 of the last 5 against Miami. The exception was actually at home, and they were just kind of beat up down low. Miami shot 52%. Memphis shot 36% from the floor. So that Miami defense is scary, man. But the Memphis defense is scary too. And while they've gone over in 7 of their last 9 meetings, I'm really not seeing a lot of high totals here. It's kind of like the line was set at like 208, and they barely went over. And so tonight at 224, if you expect Miami to bring it with the defense, look, they were about to hold Boston. They were about to have 217 right before Jalen banked that in, and it went to overtime on Friday night. So that defense is for real. The Memphis defense that you mentioned, for real at home. But the volatility in Miami, I mean, they might just not show up. So it is tough to bet an over or under in that situation. I think you look at the numbers, though, versus non-conference numbers. Again, like I said, what Miami does against the West, it's pretty inconsistent, but they've lost 3 of their last 4 against the West. And Memphis, 7 of their last 10, winning by 5 points per game in their last 5, in particular against the East. 4-1 with a plus 7.5 net, but they're scoring 120 points per game. Number 1 in rebounding rate, though. That's the key thing. If you want them to win, you got to rebound against Miami. I mean, getting to the free throw line, you mentioned as well. Miami gave up 28 free throws to Boston in that last one, showing some signs of weakness there. So I think Memphis will have an edge there at home with the whistle. I mean, they rarely lose at home. I think they will be far more geared up for this game than Miami will be.
Yeah, and that's what it comes down to at this point in the season. And if you're going to give up 5 less made threes a game at home, does Memphis, right? 10 threes made a game at home. Good for second best in the league. 15 made threes on the road. So also the turnovers, Miami's turning the ball over a couple more times at home. You cannot do that not against either of these teams. You can't turn the ball over. Miami's not wonderful in transition, but if you do turn the ball over against them, then they will score off of that to the tune of the 5th best in the league. Same thing for Memphis, though. If you turn the ball over against them, as Miami does at home, then Memphis is going to go out and run, as we know, liking to get out in transition and get points off turnovers, etc. So you really can't turn the ball over, and you got to rebound. And Memphis does that way better at home. Miami does it way worse on the road. Just seems like a pretty opportune matchup here for that. So that's all the time we have for you in this one. Make sure to like and subscribe to that page. Continue to follow along. We will be back each and every weekday of this regular season. So until we see you next, happy betting.